All right. So, Gallup, New Mexico, I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of Going Deep with Gallup Real Estate 101. Today is a great topic, especially if you're a first-time home buyer out there. This is the thing. You want to buy a house, but you want to be sure you're not getting screwed. You want to be sure that the house is in good condition. You want to be sure that it's worth what you're paying for. You want to be sure that you're not going to have problems with the house. Guys, that's exactly what this episode's all about. So, right off the bat, I want your comments after this. I want to know if these videos are making an impact for you, but more importantly, if you know somebody who's thinking about buying a house and they're kind of unsure about what the process is as far as, or what the due diligence process is, I want you to share this video with them. Be sure you're protecting your friends and family as I go through this stuff. So let's talk about this. You've been shopping for a house. You find a house that you like. You're thinking about making an offer. But as a buyer, you want to be sure that I'm not buying something that's going to cost me a lot of repairs. I want to be sure I'm paying a fair price for what I'm getting for the house. I want to be sure that there's no title issues, there's no tax liens or anything. This is what I want to let you guys know. When you find a house, the first step is to make an offer. There's only 3 responses that a seller can legitimately make to an offer. They can accept it, they can reject it, or they can counter it. So for this scenario, let's say that we have a $150,000 house. Maybe you offer $140,000. The seller can either accept that $140,000, can reject it and just say, no, that's too low, or maybe they counter it at $145,000. Whatever. My point is that once the offer is accepted, that's when you start your due diligence process on your house. When an offer is accepted, it takes about 60 days to get to closing. And the reason is because now that the offer is accepted, you and your family as the home buyers are allowed to do a bunch of different inspections to be sure it's exactly what you want to buy. So let me share with you. The due diligence process is the beginning of the negotiation, in my opinion. And what I want to let you guys know, the first thing that you're going to do in your due diligence process is you're probably going to want to get a title commitment. That guy's no good. You're going to want to get a title commitment. What is a title commitment? Guys, the title to the house is the ownership of the house. It's saying that you own the property. And you want to get a title commitment to be sure that there's no other ownership interest in the property. There's no Uncle Joe twice removed. There's no tax liens. There's no outstanding loans or anything on the property. So the title commitment makes sure that when you get the property transferred over to your name, you and your family have ownership of that property complete. The next thing you're going to want to talk about is a home inspection. What a home inspection does, guys, it's a great general inspection of the property. Home inspectors will come out, they'll look at mechanical equipment, plumbing equipment, they'll climb up in the attic, they'll climb underneath the crawl space, they're going to get on the roof, they're going to give you typically a good 30 to 50 page report about everything that they've seen about the property. If there's deficiencies in the property, they're going to know what you need to be aware about with the property. They're going to talk to you about it. So that way you can get the most out of your house. Surveys. A lot of people think the surveys are to show the 4 corners of the property, which they in fact do. But surveys also show encroachments and easements, and that's important. A lot of properties in Gallup, New Mexico, for example, have utility easements along the back side of the property. What that means is that the utility company can access that easement to make repairs to the utility lines and such. If you have a fence line that's out in that utility easement, the utility company can actually take down that fence line and they're not responsible for picking it up. You may not care if it's a fence, but if that utility part of the house might be a little bit more of a concern. That's what our surveys tell us. Something else I want to let you guys know about is termites. We do have termites in Gallup, New Mexico, and there's certain areas of town that have more significant termite activity than others. So a termite inspection is something that protects you as a homeowner. Make sure that you don't have any tenants when you go and buy the house. The appraisal. This is a big one for the due diligence process. What I want to let you guys know is on the appraisal is there to be sure that you as a home buyer are not overpaying for your house. And the appraiser actually doesn't work for you as the home buyer. It really works for the lender. The lender wants to be sure that, God forbid, they should have to foreclose in your house, 2 years after you bought it, that they know that they're not exposing their money unnecessarily and that they could get a good fair market value for it. If you're on more rural properties, you might need a septic or a well inspection. And those are pretty typical inspections. The state law requires that we get septic inspections within 6 months of when the property transfers title. So guys, the reason I'm telling you all this is you can also do things. I mean, you can get radon inspections, you can do electrical inspections and sewer line scopes and all this other type of stuff. But generally, these 6 items pretty much make up what the due diligence process is for most potential buyers. Now, the thing is, remember I said that the negotiation is just beginning once that offer is accepted. Let's say, for example, you as a homeowner, you as a home buyer, get a home inspection report back, and the home inspection report says, oh, look, there's a leak in the roof we didn't see. You have an opportunity to file objections with the home seller to say, hey, let's fix that leak before we move forward with the transaction. Or you can say, if it's a big enough problem, I don't want the house anymore, I'm going to walk away. Let's say, for example, you have using the $150,000 house again, you're paying $150,000, but the appraisal comes in only at $140,000. Well, guess what? Your due diligence process allows you to renegotiate the sales price from $150 down to $140 potentially with the seller, so that way you're not overpaying for the property. So guys, the reason I'm just sharing this information with you is buying a house is stressful. You want to be sure that you and your family are not making a mistake. You want to be sure you get as much information about that property as you can. Well, we want to as well, and that's why our purchase agreements allocate for this due diligence process to be sure you and your family are protected as you go through the process. It allows us to shop with confidence. It allows us to go through and be sure that we know what we're getting involved with, and it protects you as the buyer when you go through this process after your offer gets accepted. So, guys, this is Jason with Caldwell Banker High Desert Realty. You should expect more from your real estate agent. Come and get a Caldwell Banker agent. We know this process inside out. We're going to be sure that you know it too, so that way you and your family don't get messed around with while you're buying a house, and you guys know that you have these protections. So, comment below, share this video with friends and family. I want to see this thing go viral, and I want to know exactly what your rights are as you go through and you make your purchase. Take care, guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.